Hopefully this shit work out. If you've been here for long enough, you can tell that my upload schedule has been shitty to say the least. And I'm just in my mind just laying down thinking, what the fuck can I do to make this shit better? And then I just got a brain blast of an idea that I could do. And stick with me now for this. Random Anime Friday. And you're probably wondering, what the fuck is a Random Anime Friday? I appreciate your enthusiasm, but shut up real quick while I explain. So Random Anime Friday is a series where I go on YouTube or TikTok and look up anime and just find random anime to talk about. And that includes the plot and some episodes and moments I want to talk about in the show. And by the end of the video, I tell you if you should go watch the anime or not. Hold it! Wait a second. Before you go and think this series is weekly, I'm sorry to tell you this, but it's not going to be weekly. But it is going to be every other week or every 2 weeks depending. And the reason why is because I gotta watch the anime, obviously, and then I gotta edit this motherfucker too. Hopefully later on I could upload every week, but right now that is not an option. So we got everything out the way. Let's finally talk about our first anime of Random Anime Friday, which is, drumroll please, The Laws of Ueki. Okay, relax. This show is crazy as fuck, so let me start off by talking about the plot real quick. So this story is about a middle schooler named Kosuke Ueki and his friend Mori, and they go around fighting other middle schoolers with powers and shit. And they all do that just to figure out who's gonna become the next god and who gets the talent of blank. You're probably asking, what do you mean become a god? What do you mean talent of blank? Let me explain it real quick. So all the middle schoolers have set Celestial King candidates that they got their powers from, and Celestial King candidate basically means candidate for god. And the talent of blank is basically any type of talent or wish that you want. And that's because every middle schooler has talents that they could lose or gain. So Ueki and his Celestial King candidate Kobayashi are trying to win so that nobody bad gets the talent of blank or the Celestial King seat. And did I forget to say my nigga Ueki's powers is to turn trash into trees? Yeah, this nigga's powers lame as shit. But don't doubt my nigga, cause he really a dog for real. So now that I explained the plot, even though it's not a good explanation, let's talk about episodes and moments that I really fuck with. So the first episode I want to talk about is episode 8 and 9. And it was the fight with Monjiro and Ueki. And this fight showed how much of a dog this nigga Ueki is. So let's get started. So after my nigga Ueki was getting jiggy and shit, him and I got an alert that a power user was nearby. And my nigga Ueki wanted all the smoke, so he went to go see who it was. So when they got there, they meet that nigga Monjiro again. And I say again because they met that nigga Monjiro before then. And it was wild that nigga Ueki was getting jumped by a couple of niggas. They was really beating on that nigga. That nigga Monjiro came there to beat the fuck out of all of them. So Ueki and I already know this nigga got hands for real. But Ueki ain't got no type of fear in his heart. But this wasn't gonna be an easy fight. Cause when it got started, that nigga Monjiro cocked his leg back and kicked dirt at this nigga. When the dirt was flying at that nigga Ueki, it turned into an iron ball and hit that nigga dead in his head. And that shit laid my nigga out. So if you still don't understand, Monjiro's powers is to turn dirt he kicks into iron balls. And that shit seems kinda crazy as hell too now. But let's get back into the fight. So now Monjiro is patching up that nigga Ueki because he didn't like the way he snuck his ass. So now they getting back into the fight again. So now that my nigga Ueki's ready, he dodged the iron ball that he kicked at him again. But that nigga Monjiro started rushing his ass, kicking this nigga dead in his shit. But my nigga Ueki ain't going out after that shit. But none of his attacks is working. Cause Monjiro was just blocking that shit easily, just sticking his ass every time he tried. And now he just smacking this nigga Ueki, and he ends that shit with a left hook to his chin. Had my nigga Ueki stumbling back. But Ueki ain't going on like that, so he decided to use his powers. But Monjiro said fuck that and kicked a big ass iron ball at him, fucking this nigga Ueki up again. But I gotta ask the question, where the fuck is that shit going? Cause that shit just kept rolling. What if that shit just running with somebody just casually walking? But fuck that, let's get back into this shit. So now my nigga Ueki on the ground again, and Monjiro is telling him how he can't lose his fight cause he's doing this for his village. And so now we get his backstory. Little nigga, I can't allow you to beat me because I'm fighting for my village. You niggas are leaving too? Yeah, nigga, this school ain't doing shit for me.
Hell yeah, I heard the hoes is better than the other cities. This lame ass village ain't doing shit for me. You're gonna abandon the village over hoes? I thought y'all wanted to rebuild this shit.
Yeah, but we thought we was gonna get hoes with this shit.
Yeah, and they was gonna shut the village down anyways, so we might as well get the fuck up out of here. Them hoe ass niggas. Well, I'm not gonna let this village go down. Oh lord, my back. Huh? Old nigga, what happened to you? Damn it, son, my back. Damn, I need a perk. Damn it, I gotta take him somewhere else. Oh, old bitches. He's okay, his back just got thrown out. That means he can get out the hospital tomorrow. Hell no, little nigga. His guys gotta stay here. Especially cause your village don't got no damn doctors. But what about his family? Look, son, just listen to him. My old ass need to sit still anyways. So just leave me here. And I saw a cute nurse anyways.
And so after his backstory and he explained why he wanted the talent to blank, that nigga Ueki ain't give no types of fuck. So Monjiro kicked another iron ball at this nigga, but Ueki used his powers to lift himself up in the air to dodge it. And so now he's basically telling this nigga Monjiro that his dream was lame as hell, and that his reasoning for getting the talent to blank is ass as fuck. And Monjiro wasn't gonna take that shit like that, so he kicked a whole lot of iron balls at Ueki, but he used his powers to make a bat to hit it back at this nigga. And it looked like this nigga was cooked, but remember, they got talents, and one of Monjiro's talents is to dodge. So when they was coming back at him, he was dodging them bitches so effortlessly. Like, run that shit back. Like, look at the way this nigga's dodging him. And so after he dodged him, he kicked more iron balls into the air and directly at that nigga Ueki. But Ueki ain't no slouch either. He started dodging the bitches too. But this nigga forgot the ones in the air and got his shit cracked. And Monjuro thought it was over. But Ueki ain't going down that easily. And then he started talking more shit about his dreams again. And Monjuro wasn't going for it, so he kicked more iron balls into the air, hitting my nigga Ueki again. And so now we getting the reason why this nigga Ueki is talking shit to this nigga. And it's because he don't want him to rely on the talent of Blank, because he can help his village without using it. But Monjuro ain't trying to hear that shit. So he kicked more iron balls at this nigga, laying my nigga Ueki out again. But he just keeps getting up. And so now Monjuro just kicks a big spiked iron ball at this nigga. And Ueki just reflects it into the air and starts running at that nigga Monjuro. And while he's running at him, he's telling him why he can't have the talent of Blank. And it's because he's trying to protect it from anybody who's evil. So after that, he used his powers to make tree spikes to launch at him. But Monjuro ends up dodging all of them shit. And now they're both running against each other, and Monjuro decides to kick another iron ball at this nigga. But Ueki effortlessly dodges that shit and launches his own attack at that nigga. But he missed. But he actually did it on purpose because he pulled the tree and cursed that nigga Monjuro. But Monjuro ain't trying to go out like a hoe, so he got back up. And so they got back to banging out. Because Monjuro just started kicking hella iron balls at this nigga. And Ueki was still dodging them shit too, until he slipped and dropped to one knee. And so Monjuro kicked a huge iron ball at him. But Ueki used his powers to make a big ass bat again and hit that shit right at that nigga, knocking his ass out finally. That's why I said this nigga Ueki really him for real. But I want to talk about one more fight this nigga Ueki had, and it's in episode 4 and 5, and it's him versus Liho. So let's talk about this last fight. So we start off in Kobayashi's apartment, where Ueki and the rest of them are talking, until they feel a mini ass earthquake, and they go to check to see who it is, and it's that nigga Liho, and he wants to run the ones with Ueki. And you know Ueki ain't about to deny no fade, so they end up going to this field to go fight. And this is when the fight got started, cause Ueki starts off by trying to hit that nigga Liho with his powers from underground, but Liho easily chops that shit up. So Ueki decides to shoot spikes at him, but this nigga Liho was so strong he grinded those shits with his forearm. Like, look at this shit. So now Ueki is just shooting trees at this nigga, but Liho is blocking every single one of those until Ueki started getting tired and that nigga Liho started rushing him. And my dog uses his powers to dodge into the air, but Liho's strong ass came to chop that whole shit down. But while Ueki's in the air, he shot hella spikes at that nigga, and Liho still dodges all of them shit. So now they're both on the ground and Liho flips that nigga Ueki and punches him in his chest. But Ueki ends up blocking it by making a rubber tree bouncing off of it. And while he did that, he somehow snatched his hat off his head. And now Liho stopped playing with this nigga, cause he ends up flash stepping and hitting this nigga with an elbow to his face, knocking that nigga Ueki back far as hell. But he ain't stopping there, cause he ends up running towards him while Ueki's using his powers and stomps this nigga out while he's standing, mind you. And so now Ueki's getting up and we finally get that nigga Liho's backstory. So basically this nigga Liho's dad was a cold ass fighter, but then this nigga died from a sickness and shit. And so now Liho is fighting and training just to become as strong as his father and shit. And now we get back to the fight and this nigga Liho is beating the fuck out of that nigga Ueki. And now Ueki's on the ground, he tried to use his powers again, but he missed on purpose to try to punch that nigga. But Liho easily dodged that shit. And now he's running around trying to speed blitz this nigga again. But this nigga Ueki makes a spring and launches this nigga back. Like this Looney Tunes ass way to catch this nigga. But Liho ain't trying to go out like that, so he runs at that nigga Ueki and started punching on him. But Ueki uses a tree to push him off of him, but Liho jumps and pushes off of it last minute to avoid any type of damage. So now they're both exhausted trying to figure out what the fuck they're about to do next. But then this nigga Liho decides to use his special attack. So he gets down into a stance and starts charging up, and then this nigga took off. Like when I mean this nigga takes off, this nigga is running. But then this nigga Ueki dodges it last minute. But in the process, this nigga Liho destroys a big ass boulder. Like this nigga really trying to kill something. And so now he charges it up for one last time. And when he takes off, Ueki starts charging right towards him, not caring in the slightest. And so when they collide, this nigga Ueki stops this nigga dead in his tracks. And what happens afterward is crazy as hell.
Let's go, we're done here. Let's just go find another nigga to fade. Bet.
Nigga, you running away?
Nah, nigga, we gonna run it back later. But for right now, you got that.
What you mean by I got that? Nigga, we can finish this shit right now. Girl, I know you ain't. Boy, shut your fucking ass up. Boy, if you keep fucking going, he gonna beat your ass. If he say you got that, you got that. Why your ass trying to keep going at it with that fucking crazy ass nigga? And so that's how they fight basically ended. And so now the big question on everybody's mind, should you watch The Law Ueki? And the answer is... Give me another drum roll. Hell yeah, you should watch the show. Like, I didn't even explain the Robert Hayden fight or any other fight in the second half either. Like, for an older show, this shit is gas as fuck. So in my opinion, you should go experience the show yourself. You really fuck with it. And so with that, the first ever episode of Random Anime Friday starts off with some gas. But I'm gonna end the video here. So what do y'all think? Do y'all fuck with the series or not? And if y'all got any other ideas to make the series better, I appreciate it. Because this series is to keep me consistent for y'all. And shout out to the other niggas who do similar shit to this. And there's gonna be another Am I Glazing video in the future, so stay tuned for that. And so with all that being said, go over there and fuck with my TikTok. I'd really appreciate it. So I love y'all, and I'll see y'all when I see y'all.
Ride face, put that water on your mustache. Porno swag, 100 G's, Louis duffel bag. Paying pussy, make that dick have a heart attack.